Welcome to this explainer. If you've ever been invited to one of those business opportunity meetings and secretly thought to yourself, wait, is this a scam? Well, you are definitely in the right place today. We're going to definitively break down the legal and operational differences between an illegal pyramid scheme and a legitimate multi-level marketing business. And to make this super concrete, we'll be using World Financial Group, or WFG, as our primary case study.
Right off the bat, let's dive in and address the massive elephant in the room. Why do people so often confuse these two completely different structures? It happens literally all the time, and it's mostly because from the outside looking in, they kind of look identical. To understand the truth, we first have to understand the source of that confusion.
The core of the confusion really stems from the fact that both models share some key structural traits on the surface. They both use networking to expand, they both heavily encourage team building, and they both offer override commissions based on a team's performance. So yeah, looking strictly at the organizational flow, they seem basically the same. But trust me, that is exactly where the similarities end.
Section 1. Anatomy of Pyramid Schemes.
Okay, let's look at the villain of our story so we know exactly what an illegal, unsustainable model looks like. Here's the absolute baseline definition. A pyramid scheme is a system that makes its money primarily by recruiting new members. It completely lacks real products or services. Just think about that for a second. There is no external revenue coming in from actual customers who are just buying a product. The money only flows from the pockets of new recruits straight up to the people who recruited them.
When you look at how these schemes actually operate, the red flags are just glaring. Members pay money just to join, and the income relies entirely on those entry fees. There's little to absolutely zero real product value. But here is the absolute kicker. The whole system structurally collapses the second recruitment slows down. It's fundamentally unsustainable because it requires an infinite chain of new people just to survive.
Because the business opportunity itself is essentially the only thing being sold, it creates zero real customer value for anyone involved. And because of that, this model is outright illegal in many countries around the world, specifically including the United States and Canada.
Section 2. The legitimate MLM model. Now, in stark contrast, a legal MLM company generates its revenue strictly through the sale of real products or services to actual customers. Yes, team development and training certainly exist, and recruitment may happen, but compensation must be tied primarily to actual sales and the real client value being delivered. You don't get paid just for bringing a warm body into the room. You only get paid when a real product is sold.
Section 3. World Financial Group Structure.
Let's ground this concept in reality by looking at WFG Canada. They operate as a licensed financial services marketing organization. What's crucial to understand here is that they don't just invent their own hollow products. They partner directly with established, highly regulated corporate giants. We're talking institutions like Canada Life, Manulife, and IA Financial Group.
And this beautifully illustrates that real product requirement we just talked about. WFG representatives help actual clients with concrete, vital services. These are tangible products that everyday people actually need, things like life insurance, critical illness and disability coverage, and retirement accounts like RRSPs, TFSAs, and RESPs. That is real market value sold to real people, regardless of whether they ever decide to join the business.
Plus, you can't just pay a quick fee and magically start selling. The barrier to entry involves actual, rigorous professional licensing. Over in Canada, representatives are heavily regulated. They have to take legally mandated steps to practice, like passing the LLQP licensing exams, following strict industry compliance, and working exclusively with those vetted institutions. It entirely separates the model from some simple pay-to-play scheme.
Section 4. Head-to-head comparison.
So how do these two stack up when placed directly next to each other? Well, this cuts right through the noise. Main revenue source? Pyramids rely solely on recruiting. MLMs rely on selling services. Real product? In pyramids, completely absent. In MLMs, yes, it's there. Legal status? Pyramids are illegal. MLMs are licensed and regulated. And finally, what about income without sales? In a pyramid? Yep, you often get paid just for recruiting. But in an MLM? Absolutely not. You cannot earn income without real sales taking place.
Distilling all of this down to its core operational philosophy, the difference is honestly striking. On one side, a pyramid scheme treats people as the product to be consumed. You are literally buying the person. On the other side, a legitimate MLM uses actual products and services to create value. The people are the network, but the products are the business.
Section 5. Challenges and Final Verdict.
Now, we've got to be completely impartial in this explainer. Even legitimate, heavily regulated business models are far from perfect. The source material does point out some distinct advantages to the MLM model, like spreading financial education to families who might otherwise be totally overlooked by traditional wealth management firms. It also provides serious personal development in areas like leadership, and it offers an accessible entrepreneurship opportunity to build multiple income streams.
However, the real-world challenges are severe. Not everyone succeeds. Actually, the attrition rate in this kind of sales can be incredibly high. It requires seriously strong communication skills to thrive. Building genuine client trust takes an immense amount of time and effort. And crucially, because it relies on a network of independent representatives, poor training by just one group can severely damage a brand's entire reputation.
Which brings us to a really powerful summarizing thought from our source material that perfectly caps off this explainer. It beautifully defines the ultimate difference in just one sentence. In a pyramid scheme, people are the product. In a professional financial business, people are the clients.
Knowing the stark legal and operational differences we've covered today, I want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you're pitched a networking opportunity, ask yourself this. Are you accurately evaluating the real business model, the facts, and the products? Or are you just getting distracted by the shape of the organizational chart? The structure might look identical, but as we've seen, the foundation beneath it is literally the difference between building a career and breaking the law. Keep asking the right questions, and we'll see you next time.